All right, hello everyone. My name is Matt and welcome back to another video. In my last whiteboard video, I showed you my classroom management strategy. If you haven't seen that video already, I really highly recommend you see that video. If you're a new teacher or a teacher who struggles with classroom management, I think that video will really help you. I'll leave a card above and also a link in the video description below. Definitely go and check that out. One aspect of my classroom management strategy is using points to motivate students. Students can get points by following my classroom rules, or they can lose points if they don't follow the classroom rules. But another important way to motivate students is through the use of games where they can earn points. There are many different types of ESL games you can play in your class, and also a lot of different ways you can determine how many points they earn during those games. PowerPoints can host all sorts of fancy games like the spinning wheel, click away boxes for points, guessing games for points, and dozens of other ones which are very effective. However, if you don't want to use those things all the time, there are many other ways you could dole out points. Today I'm going to show you some other ways you can give out points in class. These things can be used in conjunction with a PPT, or they can be used if you don't have a computer, or your computer is broken, there's a blackout, and all of a sudden you have no power, and you're forced to do class with nothing but a blackboard and whatever you have in your bag. In my personal opinion, many of the things I'm going to show you right now, you should have in your bag at all times anyway. You never know when things are going to go wrong, and trust me, they will go wrong. The power goes out, USBs get lost or broken, and you want to be ready. You can't just say, well, I give up, the computer doesn't work, PowerPoint doesn't work, okay, it's a study hall. You can't do that. You got to be ready at all times. You know, if you need to conduct your lesson with just a blackboard and whatever you have in your bag, that's got to work. You know, and also, what if during class you're using your PowerPoint and the kids just seem kind of like out of it and they're not very excited? You can take one of these things out and all of a sudden excite the kids. Okay, so these things are going to be really helpful for you. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first one seems so obvious. I was thinking, should I even include it? And then I realized that I didn't even use this thing for the first 2 years I was teaching ESL in large public school classes. So I got to include it. There's going to be people watching this video who don't use this thing, and I think they really should have it in their bag, and they should include it in games sometimes, not all the time. And that is a die, okay? A die is a really great way to motivate the students. My students absolutely love to roll the die. You can get a die like this, and you find it anywhere online, on Taobao, Amazon, anywhere. They're really cheap. Or some teachers like to get really big ones that the kids can roll. Or what I do now is I don't even let the kids actually roll a die. I have an app on my phone, a die app, and I just find that it's much quicker. So what I do is I just open the app, and when we're playing a game or when they're doing a dialogue, however I'm going to include it in the class, I just let the kids tap the die on the screen. It rolls and it stops, and it's just quicker, because if you're going to have them roll a die like this, it's fun and the kids will absolutely love it, but it takes some time. And until the kids are really well trained, they're going to be throwing the die and acting all crazy in class. So I don't really like to do that. I used to do it all the time with grade 3 and grade 4. At least twice a month, I would bring a die in and the kids would come up to the front and they would roll the die. And I had to train them to roll the die, not throw the die, because they want to throw it and kick it. And I had to be really strict. So I would tell them, you know, if they throw it really hard, if they throw it like this at all really hard, I will take away points. They have to roll the die. I explained they have to roll. Roll means this, roll it on the ground, okay? But die is really great. But like I said, now I just use an app. And so I just have it on my phone. I open it up and I show them they're gonna get to roll the die. And then I'll just have them walk over and I'll walk over to them and they just push it. Or if they're at the front, everyone can see it and they'll push it and they'll see the points and I'll add the points to their tally, okay? But a die is really amazing, okay? It will change your lesson. It'll make it so much more fun. The kids will love it. And like I said, for the first 2 years I was teaching ESL, I didn't use a die, okay? And thinking back now, I'm like, how did I not even realize that I should have a die in my bag at all times, or the app on my phone at all times? So a die is really great. The kids absolutely, love it. All right, let's go on to number 2. Okay, the second way I think you should give points, and the second thing you should have in your bag at all times, is a sticky ball. Okay, a sticky ball is a really great way to motivate your students. They can throw the ball at the bullseye to get points. So if you bring kids up to have a dialogue or to play whatever game it is, the reward after they're finished the dialogue or whatever it is to throw the sticky ball at the bullseye and get points. Okay, if they hit the middle, they can get 5, and 4, 3, 2, or 1. If they miss the board totally, I say they can go again, generally. And another way you can do it is you can actually have different spots on the floor that'll determine some extra points. So you can have a line which is really close, which could be just like +1. So if let's say they throw it and they hit here, but they're standing at the closest line, it can be 3 + 1, 4 points. Then you can have a line which is a little bit further away. If they throw it from that line, it can be +2, so they can throw it. If they hit 2, but they're at the second line, it's 2 + 2, it's 4 points. Or a line which is further away, which can be +3. Okay, so it's 3 plus whatever they get on the bullseye, and the kids will absolutely love it. If you are playing this game with really little kids, like grade 1, you can let them stand right in front of it, you know, because they're probably gonna miss. You know, like some of the kids really can't throw very well, so it can be kind of unfair. As with the die is the die. Like, no one knows how to roll a 6, but some of the kids can be better than the others at throwing the sticky ball. So I try to make it really close, so that's pretty fair, because like some of the kids, they're going to be really a lot better than some of the other kids, so it could be quite lopsided. And if you start to notice that, you know, it is unfair, like one of the teams is always winning or something in the class because they have a few kids in the team that are really good at throwing the ball, then don't use this game as often, because it'll just be unfair, and the other kids will get kind of turned off because they'll know, like, well, that team has like these 4 students who are really good at throwing the ball, and it's really unfair. They're hitting 5s all the time, or they can throw from really far back and get lots of points. But the sticky ball is amazing. It's fun. The kids really like it. And I sometimes use this game as just like a motivator for them. I'll tell them at the end of class, they can play the bullseye game, I call it, and they can throw the sticky ball at the bullseye, and they really, really love it. It's a great thing to have in your bag at all times. And as long as you have a board with a chalk and a sticky ball, you can play this game. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so the next way you can give points can also use a bullseye, but this time we're not using a sticky ball. We are using a gun. Okay, the kids absolutely love to shoot the gun. Again, if you tell them about the gun or tell them that they can play the gun game at the end of class, they are going to be really, really well behaved, and it's a great way to, you know, motivate the kids. And during the class, if they do a dialogue, they can shoot the gun. They're all going to want to play. If you have those students who don't really want to raise their hand or whatever, the second you pull out the gun, they're going to be like, oh my God, they really want to do it. And you'll have kids raising their hand to play that never raise their hand. They come to the front and they can't even really do it. They can't do the dialogue, you know, but they're so eager to shoot the gun that they're willing to try. They're willing to go out there and do what they were not brave enough to do before, because they really want to have an opportunity with the gun. I played this game. I haven't actually played this game in a few years, I think, but I have a video of me playing it with a review class in I think it was grade 4. I'll leave a link to that video. The kids can play with the gun. You can see how I do it. There's a bunch of ways you can do it in class. I tend to, in that video, I think what I did was I had the kids answer a 3-part question, and for every question they answered correctly, they could take a step closer to the board. So they start out in the back of the class, like against the back wall or near the back wall. They answer one question, they take a step forward as far as they can. You can see some of the girls doing splits in order to get as close as they can to take the longest step they possibly could, so that by 3 steps they're really, really close to the board, so they could take a shot at it. Okay, so it's really fun, and it's super effective. One thing to make sure of is, if you are bringing this in, safety is first. Make sure they're not aiming it at each other or shooting it at each other. So I'm very, very clear with the rules. What I do is I don't let them cock it until I tell them to. So I think mostly I was the one preparing it. So what I would do is I taught the kids how to say, cock the gun, aim the gun, fire the gun. Okay, so they had to fire it forward. They have to be, after the gun is cocked, they can only point it forward. I told them if they pointed it at anyone, if they even pointed it at anyone, their team was going to lose 5 points. Be very strict. You don't want someone getting shot in the eye in class. That'll be the last of the gun game, okay? Definitely don't do that. Don't let them do that. Safety is first. It's not that dangerous, but if you hit someone in the eye with it and the parents find out you're bringing something like this into class, they're not going to be happy with you. So just make sure if you are bringing a gun to class like this, do it in the safest possible way. Be as clear about the rules and you can teach them the word safety. You can make it a part of the game. Safety first, and put on the PPT. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. So we are all safe. Okay, you can ask the kids, we need to be safe. What does safe mean? And they can say the word in their home language, their first language, okay? Just to make sure. But the gun is amazing. You can use the sticky ball with the bullseye. You can use the gun with the bullseye. And I promise you, the kids are gonna absolutely love it. If you bring it once, the next week, they're gonna be asking you, where's the gun? Can they play the gun game again? Okay, and that's great. That's what you want. So you can put it on the board, gun game, write it out. Gun game. And then you tell them if they're very good at the end of class and gun game is still on the board, they can play the gun game for the last 5 minutes. If they start to misbehave, start erasing letters from that word, from the game, okay? And if gun game is gone, no gun game, okay? They will be silent in class if you do that, because they really, really, really love the gun game. Go get yourself a gun. Definitely have it with you at all times, just in case you need it. And yeah, I think the kids are gonna love it. Okay, the next way to give points in class is a simple deck of cards. It works really well. They already have numbers on them, okay, so it's already set and ready to go. I always have this in my bag just in case. The kids really like it. You can either put the cards on the table, like a lot of cards on the table, and then have the kids come up and choose one, or you can put them in your hand and be like, choose a card. And what I do is I just have an ace, and in this case, aces are low, aces are 1. I have a 2 card, a 3 card, 4, 5, and 6. I just go up to 6, so the most they get is 6 points all at once. I don't bring like 8s or 9s or anything. I don't want them to be able to get too many points at one go. And if I do, I'll just be like, okay, the points range from 4 to 10 or something like that. But I think this is the way I've just been doing it. I always do aces 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's really simple. They come up, do the dialogue, do whatever it is, whatever the activity is, and then, okay, choose a card, get points, sit down. It's really, really like simple, but if you do it every once in a while, the kids will really like it, and yeah, they just like it's gambling. They like it. The dice, it's gambling, they like that. The cards, gambling, like that. You can choose 2 cards, and they have to add them up, so it could be, choose 2, and then choose 2, and it's like 4 plus 3 equals, I always do that with the class. 4 plus 3 equals, and I can even write it on the board, like 2 blanks, blank plus blank equals, and then write in 4 plus 3 equals 7, and I just make them say the math. Okay, my grade 2s can all say like minus and plus and everything, because they've been doing it all the time with, anytime we're giving points, I always do that. And if you're doing it with cards, you can do that as well. Definitely have a deck of cards. In China, super, super cheap. It's like, I think 3 RMB or 4 RMB for the deck of cards. So I think it's the cheapest of the things I have with me today that you can actually buy. So yeah, I think it's the cheapest one you can actually buy. So this one, definitely just have in your pocket. Even if you don't have a bag and you have nowhere to put a die or whatever, you can always have a deck of cards with you. Highly recommend it. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the next way you can give points in class is by using colored popsicle sticks. Now there are a few ways you could do this. The first way is you could assign a point value to each color. So either on the board or on your PowerPoint, you can have like 6 or 8 different colors, and each different color is a certain amount of points. And then the kids need to, after they perform the dialogue or do whatever, you have a bag, and you put the popsicle sticks in the bag, and they reach over, put their hand in, pull out a popsicle stick. Okay, they pull out a blue, you check the board or check the PowerPoint. Blue is 5 points, they get 5 points. Or what you could do is, if you don't want to use a bag, you could write like a point value on the bottom of all of the sticks. So each green could be a different color. So like this green is 6, and another green could be 4, and another green could be 1, So they don't know which color is actually good, and they can't see the point values, and you don't need a bag or anything, and they just choose any of the popsicle sticks, and they pull it out, and on the bottom they say, okay, this one's 2 points, and then give 2 points. That's an easy way to do it. Or you could also, you could blindfold the kids, have the kids wear a blindfold, and then choose whatever, just to make it more interesting, even though they couldn't see what the point values were anyway. And there are a bunch of other ways you could use popsicle sticks in class, either to give points or play different games. Definitely buy popsicle sticks. There are so many different games and stuff you can play. Maybe in a future video, I will show you different games you can play with popsicle sticks. There are really so many different ones. So definitely get popsicle sticks. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the next way you can determine points in class is by using a trash can or rubbish bin and a nice little soft ball, and the students need to throw the ball and get it in the basket. Trash get ball. Okay, so the way it can work is after they do the dialogue, they can have a go. So what you do is put the trash can or the rubbish bin on a table or desk in the front of the class and determine certain spots on the floor that are certain point values. So if, let's say it's the trash can is right here on a table, you can have a 1-point line, a 2-point line, a 3-point line, a 4-point line, and a 5-point line. Okay, so if they make it from the 5-point line, they can get 5 points. They make it from the 1-point line, they get 1 point, and so on. Or they can have as many chances to get it in like a certain amount of time as you determine. So you can get like 5 different balls or 6 different balls and tell them they have 6 different shots at the basket, and they have to do it in a certain amount of time. So let's say you give them 20 seconds and they have to try as many as they can, as many of the 6 balls to get in as they can in the 20 seconds, okay? And you can just have one line for that, because if they're moving around, it might be confusing, like where were they standing during the first shot or second shot? So you can just have one spot, each one is 1 point, and they have 6 different goes, and they have to do it in 20 seconds. So they're not standing there like taking their time, okay? They don't have that much time in class. You don't want to waste a ton of time, so just have the trash can sitting there. They have 6 of these. Okay, they're standing in a certain designated spot. You say, ready, go. And they try to shoot all 6 and see how many they can get in. Okay, both ways will work. Both ways are fun. And Trashball is amazing. The kids really love it. They love it so much that I only let them play like once a semester because this class is going to get loud. Okay, so make sure you tell them before class begins, you know, re-emphasize your classroom management strategy, tell them to be quiet, tell them they can be excited, but if they're really excited, they can just go like this with 2 hands, you know, not like scream, you know, because you'll have other teachers coming in like, what the hell's going on in here? And make sure, like with all of these things I'm telling you, the main focus is the language they're doing, not just shooting the ball or throwing the sticky ball, whatever. That's just to get them motivated. But the main part, the majority of the time, is used to get them to do the dialogue, say whatever it is they have to say, whatever the English is, and then they have a go, okay? So this is really effective. Definitely, you know, bring this in. This is something that you just probably won't have in your bag unless you carry like a huge gym bag with you all the time, but you might always be able to have this, okay? So I don't know if I recommend using their trash can in class, but maybe up to you. This is something that you have to actually bring and have prepared, but it works really, really well. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the next way you can give points in class is by having a grab bag. Okay, so after they do the dialogue, they can reach in the bag and pull out a slip of paper, and on the slip of paper, there's a certain amount of points, or you could actually put points on ping pong balls and put them in the bag, and the same thing, they have to reach in, they pull out the ping pong ball, and they see how many points it's worth. So this is a really, really effective way. I know some teachers that really like the grab bag. It's really exciting for the kids. They like to reach in and stuff like that. Like I told you before with the Popsicle Sticks, same kind of thing, except this time they have to pull out a piece of paper or pull out a ping pong ball. Or what you could do is, you know, write a word on the piece of paper. So you have to read the word, like, so, okay, they do the dialogue, they do whatever it is, then they reach in and they pull it out, and there's a point value and a word. So in order to get maybe some extra points, they have to actually be able to read the word as well. Depending how old your students are, you know, this might be a good opportunity to just get them to try to read something else, maybe a harder word, you know, whatever. And if they read it wrong, doesn't mean they don't get the points, but it's just a teachable moment, you know. It could be a word that maybe they should know, or maybe you're about to teach them and see if they can read it. And then if they can do it, they get some extra points. If they can't do it, you can write the word on the board and see who can pronounce it. Just another thing you can add to the class, another way that you can see what the kids know, and another way just to get them to practice their pronunciation or whatever in the middle of another game. So it's just an idea, but I think doing stuff like this can make things a little bit more exciting. But the grab bag, really effective, works really, really well, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so the next way you're gonna give them points is a little bit different, but it's really effective and the kids really like it, and it's a great way to review as well. So what you can do is at the front of the class, you can set up a table, and on the table you can have like 15 different items. And hopefully they're things you just taught them this year, so it's kind of a review. For example, like if you taught them the word sunglasses, you can have a pair of sunglasses on the table, maybe a brush, have a spoon. You can have a bunch of other, you can think of a bunch of other items that you could have taught them. It could be pieces of fruit, you know, fake pieces of fruit maybe real ones if you want to do that, or just realia, whatever. And then you can, what you do is after they perform the dialogue or whatever it is, they have to reach into the grab bag. Again, you got a grab bag, and they pull out a slip of paper, and on the slip of paper, it has one of the items that's on the table, okay? So this would be good, I guess, for like, you know, grade 1, 2, or grade 3 or whatever. And they have to read the word, okay? So they read it, brush, okay? They get some reading practice. Then they go over to the table, okay? And they pick up the item, the brush, and underneath the item, or taped to the bottom of the item, you could have a point value, okay? So they read the word, they identify what the word actually means, they recognize it as this object, they pick it up, and they check, 2 points, okay? Or you can do the same thing with, you know, just a few examples. I have spoon, sunglasses. I mean, you could imagine 15 different words in here, 15 different items on the table, and it's just a great way for them, again, to review something in the middle of another game. So the dialogue you just did with them, whatever it was, could be something totally different. You know, it could be the Chinese New Year or something. It could just be a lesson about sports. It could be a lesson about anything, okay? But during the game, they have to read something that they already learned, and then they can get points. So you're killing a few birds with one stone. They're excited because they know they're gonna get points, and they get to practice and review something they've already learned, and they get to read it, practice the pronunciation, and yeah, maybe some of them have forgotten, you know, what a spoon is, or maybe they have trouble reading it. So you show it to them and they're like, they can't remember, they don't know what it is, and their friend has to help them, spoon. Good. And if they can't read the word, they still can get the points on the bottom of the spoon. It's okay. Okay, they're not going to lose points, but it's just an extra way for them to practice. If they really can't read it, you can hold it up and the whole class can say spoon. And then you say, which one is the spoon? And she walks over and she's like, I think it's this one. And then on the bottom of the spoon, again, taped to the bottom of the spoon, 4 points. Okay, so it's just another idea, but I think it works really well. I have done this before and it's fun, but it requires that you do more preparation. You know, if you have your own classroom, it's really easy because you just have like a table already, everything already set up, you know. But if you have to go to another classroom and move in class to class, it can be a pain, but I recommend not setting it up until the kids are sitting down, you know, because otherwise they're just going to be probably, unless you're really strict about them touching stuff in the class, like in a Chinese class especially, the kids can kind of touch whatever they want. They're going over the teacher's desk and they're just like grabbing whatever they want. So if you have a table set up with stuff like this, they're going to be fiddling with it, okay? So I recommend like wait until they're all sitting down and then right when the class is about to begin, okay, sit down, be quiet, and all of a sudden you're like taking everything out and setting it up and they're like, what is going on? What is going on? Okay, and then you'll be like, you'll see, we're gonna play a game, and they'll be all excited to know, okay? So this is very effective, it's very fun, and again, it's a good review. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the next way they can get points in class is the tornado spin. So after they do the dialogue or whatever it is, you blindfold a student, and that student needs to spin, okay, blindfolded, and then they need to stop and point at a wall. Now, actually, it doesn't matter if they're blindfolded. They could actually just choose a random wall. It doesn't matter. But if they're spinning with a blindfold on, it makes it more interesting so the kids think it's more fun. But the point value of the walls will be known to no one, including the teacher, okay? So it's a really blind game. Like, we're all blind, not just the student who's spinning with the blindfold on. But the key is, how are you going to determine the point value of the different walls? So how do you know what that wall, that wall, that wall, and that wall are worth? You know, so what you can do is if you're using a PowerPoint, you can have each slide of the PowerPoint to be programmed for a different point value. And you can, after they're done spinning and pointing at a wall, you can show them how much that wall's worth or that wall's worth or whatever. Or what you can do is somewhere where the students can't see, like could be you have a table in front of you and like a bag on the table so they can't see. And right before it begins, you assign. So you say like, okay, yellow is the back wall, orange is that wall, red is that wall, and green is the board, okay? And on the table you have, you know, you could have actually written out like left, right, front, back, or whatever it is. Left, right, front, back, or it could be their left and right, front and back. And then you just assign them, but the students can't see what it is. So they don't know what you've chosen, but you place them there. The student does the spin, they stop, they're pointing at that wall. Then you pick up your bag to reveal, you know, how many points that wall was. So if that wall was the orange one or whatever it was, orange is a certain amount of points, and so on. There's a bunch of ways you could do this. The key is, however you decide to assign points to the walls, just remember, the kids don't know which wall's how many points, okay? Because if they know, when the student's spinning, they'll be telling them like, stop, 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 no, stop, 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 no. Okay, that's what you don't want. You don't want the kids to know. So the kid's just spinning, he stops, he's pointing at a wall, and either on the PowerPoint to determine the points, which they don't know, or in some way, like have it on like somewhere they can't see. So you could determine with your bag and then cover it up so they can't see what's going on. Okay, like I said, there's a bunch of ways. There's gonna be more creative people out there than me that'll have better ideas about how to determine the points of each wall. If you have a better idea, you can leave a comment below and tell me. But it's a really fun game. And like I said, the kids like to be the tornado. And that's another chance for you to teach a new word, tornado. And you can show a tornado, you can show them translation what it is, and like, who wants to be the tornado? And by the end of the class, they're all gonna know this new word, tornado. And if they're in grade 2, that's a high level word, okay? So that's a word they're gonna go home telling their parents, tornado, I learned tornado, okay? And parents don't even know what a tornado is. So just through this game, they can learn another word. Or you can call it the hurricane game or whatever. I like tornado better. So, yeah. All right, that's the end of the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Obviously, there are a lot of other ways you give points in class. These are some of the ways that I've used. And again, I think these things are things you should have with you at all times, just in case things go wrong, a power goes out, computer's broken. Definitely have a die, a sticky ball, popsicle sticks, playing cards. These are things you can put in any backpack. They're really small. Like I said, I have an app on my phone for die. That works really, really well. So I have no excuse. You have no excuse as well. You should just have that app on your phone just in case you need it. these things will be a lifesaver if something goes wrong, okay? So if you guys use other ways to give points in class and you'd like to share them, just leave a comment down below and let us all know. This is a community I'm trying to build. Hopefully we can share ideas with each other so that we can all help each other, okay? I'm not the only one obviously doing this. There's tons of ESL teachers out there. We all have a lot of experience and stuff we should share with each other. So definitely leave a comment below if you have a really good way to give points in class. And if you use any of the ways I showed today and you want to say anything about it from your experience, definitely leave a comment below. As always, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like on this video. That really helps out my channel. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys in the next video.